thousands of people. Right? And she drags Tony. I'm like, hey, Tony, what's up? Blah, 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 blah. He's like, hey, he probably didn't even know who the hell I was.
I probably did not.
He probably, and then didn't know who Val was. Val pulling them across the thing, right? And then I was like, hey, what's up? I was like, you got all these friends from Chicago folks, right? So, anyhow, I remember I went to the after party. This girl went off on Lawrence Taylor. Went the hell off. Spike had given an after party. And we couldn't get in. You know, and they had cut off the people getting in. So they were turning people around. So Lawrence Taylor was one of them. And this chick was going to freak loud and crazy on Lawrence Taylor. I won't ever forget that.
The football player?
Yeah.
Yeah, LT.
Yeah, she was giving it to him. Man, I was like, let's go. Let's get
too much.
Yeah, because, you know, at that time, you know, coming from a Howard experience, people don't get loud and crazy and power. And you could be as high as
you knew I was about to go down.
Right, you know what I mean?
Someone was about to go down.
That was a different experience. Like, don't nobody get loud like that. But she probably wasn't even from Spelman or nothing like that. She was probably at the party, but I remember her going to freak off on Lawrence Taylor.
So, ladies, you may begin.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
What's your name?
Oh, you see, you wrong. You what?
Edit that, please.
Now, here's a tip. Here's a technique that can work for you. That's
I
real
can't
easy.
believe you just
Here's
did
the
me
technique.
like that.
When you, instead of saying what is your name, you could just say to her now. When we begin, I want you to tell me your name and you know where you're from or where you may be living now. So it won't be so much like what's your name. She's
That's
thinking,
what
she's thinking nice. Excuse my French. She's thinking, bitch. Or she's almost wondering how come you don't say.
That's what came out of my mouth.
Or she's wondering how come you don't just say, so Alice, tell us about your experience, because you do know her name, and this is, you know, so like I don't think that Bob was. I think with Bob when he was asked a name, he would ask possibly what was their doctor name.
Right.
See, I don't know.
Well, that's down on the list.
Yeah, and but from this, you don't really have to say what your name is. You could refer to her as Alice because she's gonna talk about herself too. And I don't know, but we're gonna work it out so that way she won't cuss you out.
Because
I came all the way over here because you was like to cuss her out. And her husband had a look on his face like she didn't fucked up. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go back over there.
I was the dictator.
Okay.
I just remembered.
Okay, well now you know the name. We're good.
All right.
All right, so that's been bleeped out and action.
So, Alice, tell us about the secretaries.
Secretaries began back when we were in grammar school. We call it grammar school. And it was a group of us. It was our pack that we decided. We had been going to some parties that were in Mendel High School was at that time. They had the best parties. I even remember my mom dropping us off, picking us up, Big Carlo for us just go to the party. That was in grammar school. And late by our 8th grade year was when we tried to form the secretaries. And it came as a pack. So at that pack was where everybody that did actually do that pack.
Do you remember how the group came up with the name?
That I don't remember. Isn't that awful?
As opposed to being any other occupation, why did you decide the secretaries? Yeah.
There were only a few groups that had certain names. So I don't know exactly who came up with that. I possibly would know though.
Do you remember your occupation, your name in the secretaries?
Yes. I just remembered that. Which is, that's pretty good. Dictator.
You were the dictator.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think one of our little skits that we had, the dance skits that we did was one that we would have the typewriter and we would do that, make it go. To this day, those are my exercises.
Those,
Those are my exercise moves when I put on my house music. Clean up music is what happens. So I can't get down and turn like I used to and get back up.
Do you remember the first party that the secretaries gave without any other groups involved?
See, I don't remember exactly where it was. But I remember how we made sure that we looked at location, who we had DJ, what our flyers were, how we were going to distribute all our flyers, which parties, who was going to go to before our party. I mean, we were just so making sure everything was on detail on.
So you went to other groups' parties promoting your own party?
Absolutely. 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 And it seemed that we didn't really know. They knew who we were more so than we were understanding. Exactly.
Did you think that the first party was a success?
Our first party was, but the second party was not. I think there was someone that had a party the same night that we did. If I'm not mistaken, it was someone that had a party, and it was at a school. I don't know if you remember that because it had a stage. I just remember, you know how you remember just flashes of certain things. That one was not our first party. It wasn't as big of a success as the others. However, after then, that wasn't a problem. We just always made sure we were diligent of making sure of what we needed to tackle. So that's why I say the entrepreneurship.
Do you remember your relationships with the members and how those worked? Or?
We grew up together. Majority of us lived right on the same street, same neighborhood. Walked to school. So going to grammar school, walking that way from where we lived to the school, there were others that lived in that neighborhood, and it just we just always looked out for each other. It was such a.
Do you feel like because they were all females, was it ever competitive, or was it any energy that one wanted to be more successful than the other?
No, because it was all about the group. I don't see the individual part of really tax or not wanting it for a whole. Everybody wanted the same thing, and we knew what we needed to do to get it. You know.
How do you think, as a young person, you looked at success then? Did you even conceptualize that ideal of success, or was this just a fun concept of just?
At that time, it was fun. And then actually knowing that we made it happen. What we would see that we could do more so, not so much as a competition, but, you know, just like you might think of now, all the goals you set. We actually did have goals that we set, but we didn't specify them as goals. So we always try to go over and beyond. And it just seems like every time that it's different, and you wonder why you don't keep that same focus all through life or even after.
Do you view being in this organization called the Secretaries, how did that affect your developmental process in becoming who you are today? Do you see that it had any contribution?
A lot of contribution. Individuality as far as I can be part of a group. However, like we did everybody had a different name. So since everybody had a different name, it's like you're in this group, however, your identity is totally different. And it is. So it's just like you work with a team, but you know who's good at this and who's good at that. It's helped me a lot. Just in a lot of things that I do on my own, a lot of things I do if I have to work with someone. Who's a bigger part, if that's your role, that's your lane, you stay in it. If that's somebody else's, you let them do what they do.
Were there any other competing groups, maybe male, female?
There were quite a few. Of course. It wasn't so much that we thought we were all that. I think others put us more on a pedestal than we actually were trying to be. But there was a lot of competition of those trying to be on the same level or have the same. And it's not a fan base. It's just the same as far as we would get the same response or the same feedback or being able to work with people and people knowing who we were.
What groups did you collaborate with in those times?
At those times, the doctors. There were a few others that were at Mendel at that time, but I mean, there were Ebony Gents, there were so many, the gyms. Everybody was coming up with a new name, and they were starting to have a party. It was just like, there was something that started once, Mendel. The doctors, they all went there to Mendel, and people just started affiliating different things of their groups. After that, I mean, it's just, when you look at it, it's just like it really was something powerful. It really was. You had people that showed their ability in what they could DJ, arts, and sales, and I mean, think about all the things that it helped now.
Do you think it helped contributed to maybe to your own confidence or the confidence of the community that was involved in the
I think
whole
they had
experience?
a lot, because when I was younger, I wasn't as confident person. I really wasn't. It was more of a people pleaser than just doing me.
What about with your socialization skills? Do you think that had helped you develop those as well?
Yeah, and knowing that who to deal with and who not to deal with, even to this day. So yes, I know that did. I mean, it was just that it wasn't like this was a short term. This transformed within years, and we just kept it going for a while. So it wasn't like it was just one day we had this and then one night it was over with. You know, it was for years that we were actually doing something and making something happen.
Do you have any fond memories?
Dance routines.
Dance routines? Was there a lot of practice involved?
Oh, there was practice. Everybody had the better idea. But collaborating everything and making it happen was, those are my fond memories. I enjoy dancing to this day. And I know that has part of it. You know, like I said, that's my cleaning what I try to do. I'm always dancing. Everybody looks at me now. Well, we know we'll get Alice and her husband on there to the party. We know they're going to be dancing. And you're exactly right, you know. And to this day, that's what I enjoy. You know, I still enjoy that part.
So what's your relationship with all the women who were a part of the
Believe
secretaries?
it or not, we, in some form, out of all these years, we've still kept in contact. I mean, in one way or another. Maybe not on a daily basis, but there has been contact. Even if it's just one or two that keeps in contact all the time. When it's time, then everybody gets everybody together. And it's just like...
So what do those relationships mean to you?
It's so important because you don't have that. You just don't have that in life. Not like that. We actually grew up together. Went through the good, the bad, you know. Everybody doing whatever mischievousness and doing better and
Celebrating successes.
Absolutely.
And comforting during losses.
And that's, I think, the biggest thing. You never think that it's going to get to that point, and when it does, it starts getting closer to home. Just makes you relive exactly all of the things that really brought the whole group together before.
So the creator does know what they're doing. Or the
Absolutely.
creator that
Absolutely.
knows what
He knew what he was doing from the beginning. And it built a lot within everybody. And And you really can look at that. But when it's time to get together, it's just like we're supposed to. Okay, if this is supposed to happen, because that's exactly how we did everything else. Everything was on decent and in order, as we say now. But we had an agenda. And we try to stick by the agenda. We stick by the budget. Now, our life might not have gone like that all the way through. But when we were first beginning, we knew exactly how to make that happen. And we did. We did. Which was awesome.
And you were 12 years old?
Yeah. 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 So you think about the youth that thinks about entrepreneurship. You don't fight it because they have exactly what it's just the way they go about it because of what they are available to have at the time. And at that time, we didn't have all that.
Do you have any memories of the doctors?
Yes. Always. Because that was part of the collaboration of the parties we would have together. Mendel, that's the first thing you think of when you say the doctors. Oh, Mendel High School parties. Everybody knew about that. You know?
Did you have parties outside of Mendel?
Yes. Yes, we did. So, and then we collaborated parties with them. So there were different events. Or it was always a presentation, like you would let somebody know who was going to be at that party on the invitations. You would let them know, oh, the doctors are going to be there. You know, that was the big hype. You know, like I said, when you look back at it, it was like I never knew that it had blown up to be to that part.
Now they have something, house music and
I know.
big parties and festivals celebrating.
Absolutely. Making a whole lot of money, huh?
That's okay.
It's all right. It's
That's
all right.
okay. That time definitely needs to be celebrated.
Absolutely.
Do you have any memories of the Ebony Jets?
Yes. So a lot of them when St. Albie's, that was closer to Peel Hill. So they would have parties there, so that's how that kind of evolved. There were some that weren't in other groups and ended up being, forming another group. Mm-hmm. So same thing that we would.
So maybe if you wouldn't inclusive in another group, you may be included in.
Absolutely.
Form another group.
They'll form another group.
And,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what was happening. So that's why all these different names were coming up. But you had to keep a close net and you had to make that circle small. Because if you made it too large, things just don't. I mean, we know that.
Didn't work.
Yeah.
It just didn't work. Do you remember any of the halls or where we held events or?
Tiki Room, the warehouse, the loft. St. Albans, we've had something too. There was a couple of other schools, so of course I can't remember the names, but those were some of the big ones that we had, Tiki Rooms. So, I mean, it was just that, yeah.
Tony, I'm rambling now. You might want to hit
and they might be asleep.
Hello?
I'm not asleep. I'm getting ready to walk up. Give me one. Here I come. So.
Okay, do you want to stop? Because I'm rambling.
Oh, I'm here I come. I'm just sending a text. Here I come.
Okay.
And I'll be over there. We'll see where we are. Lord, if I can spell.
Do you remember music from that era?
At that time, it was.
Was it Parliament? Bootsy Collins?
Of course, it was Parliament. Funky Down. So because we had one on Flashlight.
Yes. Yes.
You had Peter Brown. Do you want to do?
We had a routine on that.
You had the Average White Band.
Woo! They in town this week. They were in town.
We had a routine on any big.
So here's one thing I would want you to do. In case you're asking more questions, I want you to move over a little bit more this way. So slide over so she'll look a little bit more straight in the camera. That part.
Okay.
Second thing, what I want you to do, I'm gonna put it on pause.